Well, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or hello, wherever you may be. Um, well, I am back, and I have almost gotten my voice back, and I'm saying that with the utmost optimism that it's going to last. We got caught in the rain the last day or couple of days before out on the Baltic coast, and well, I'm pretty sure whatever I had getting on that airplane, everybody else had it when they landed. Um, it's my camera looks a little bit out of focus. Can't really tell you. It might just be me who's out of focus. That I will totally believe. So anyway, um, I just wanted to pop up and say hi before the episode and chat about what happened out in the big world in Europe, what's going on, and if you guys have any questions, because I know there's probably 600 emails I did not respond to while I was gone. Um, Insert any number of excuses, except I just couldn't get to it. Um, don't know why it said that. I am working on something that's been very near and dear to me for next week, with a little luck next week. The Battle of Przemyśl, the Polish city that I really, truly love. Um, that had saw three sieges during World War One and extensive battles during World War Two. And I truly, really, really love that town. And what I really love about it is it's basically there's 44 fortresses surrounding this town, 45 kilometers of fortresses, several lines. And one of the lines, the very first one the Russians attacked in 1914, was Fort 1-1, just on the Ukrainian side. Basically, hey, everybody, hey, you guys, was basically in no man's land in Ukraine, right on the border. You're not allowed to go there. So it took me a little bit of wrangling, and I got permission to go see it, what's left of it, which you will see, because that is where this amazing battle took place. And then I visited as many of the forts that there are still has more than four bricks sitting on top of each other, which is not all of them. But the battle and the siege and the town is it's just such an amazing place. And I'm kind of hoping that you're all going to embrace it, because if we ever start doing tours, um, and looking into getting a bus and a driver and taking a couple of weeks, and I figure 20 people in a bus. Um, but the logistics and planning and hotels and all that stuff is what's gonna take the time and in getting tours going. But I will say that Plemish will be one of those cities. Hey Pierre, how are you doing out there? And Pierre, what is happening after this? The main episode today is entirely your fault. You can only blame Pierre for my near death experience, or ours, because Lord knows I dragged Macta up there with me to Opera 10, which is sort of one of those alpine fortresses. It is enormous, and it is way over up on the tree line. And there's only one way of getting there, and that's the long hike. It's one of those places I had to see it. Ever since the first time I saw that place, I had to see it, so I have to show you. And there's a couple of videos around from it, but I tried to dive into what the history of the fort was and what it was armed with and what it did and how, and the background, so I can add a little bit more to that, and to the valley and the defense of that specific valley in general. And it really was amazing. Um, Hey, Australia. When are you guys going to put that island and push it closer to here so we can actually come visit? Then again, you have some really weird bugs in Australia. I'm not sure I want you this close. I'll think about that one. um, I we are also talking about a historical conference, a fortress conference in Ukraine, about the Stalin line, because there's a couple of very interesting places out there where there are intact headquarters from the Second World War of the Stalin Line. Hey, Morph. And that are and then you're surrounded by 680 bunkers in this one town up in Korostan, not overly far from the Belarus border, but up there. And found a location, hotel, and I think it would be a great place for a fortress convention to talk about the Stalin line, the Molotov line, and if it really was for real. Um, it was Star. Hey, um, so I don't know if you guys want to come up to a fortress convention in a country that's at war, but it would be totally cool. I still felt safer in Kiev being rained on with drones and missiles than I do in most of the Western capitals. Um, um, so yeah, yes, Ukraine, Korostan, outside, 2 hours drive from Kiev. It's an amazing place, and also it is insanely affordable. Ukraine is not an expensive place to visit, and that has always been my big issue with doing historical tours. Is it's going to cost money for those who come. I always say, well, a week you can't really cover much in a week, but you can cover quite a bit in 2 weeks, east and west. Also considering the driving time, which is what ruins everything. Um, So I figured you're still looking at 14 days of hotels and food, bus rental, driver, and then bits and pieces. So I haven't done the rough math, but depending how comfortable people want to be, short of sleeping, we're not sleeping in tents, never, ever. So um, that's one thing that'll be a consideration. I figure it'll easy cost 3-4 grand per person. Something like that for a couple of weeks. It is my favorite shirt, I will say. I wish I'm one of those strange people that if I see a piece of clothing I think I will like, I'll buy 2 or 3 of them, which is a problem because now I'm running out of the gym where I bought 15 years ago, um, that they no longer make. So I'm at the point where I'm going to have to make gym wear to work out in. And when I competed back in the day, I had a little gym wear company. I made my own gym where I had it made. I have a really good design, so I'll think, well, maybe I should just start competing again. Have a reason to start making gym wear. But yeah, if you see something you like, buy 2. Oh, you made it, and this is just the precursor for what's coming. So all right. So what questions have I missed from the big wide world? No, I did not get to see Igor because I did not end up. I spent a lot more time in Ukraine than I had thought, and I was going to, but that was very much worth it. I'm currently saving up for a dinosaur tooth for the 7-year-old daughter of the receptionist in the hotel. The dad's on the front line, and the young girl is very much into dinosaurs. And I figure I'm going to try to get her a T-Rex tooth. If I don't have any kids, I can spoil other people's kids, right? That seemed like the thing to do. Very exciting. They shot down a drone right over my hotel. I got it on camera because I was on the 12th floor, and every night missiles, drones hit Kiev. One night there was 680. No, sorry, 860. It must be jet lag. I reversed the numbers. 860 drones and missiles in one night, and they're just indiscriminately. Apartment buildings, people. My interpreter, she lost her car to a drone, and so I'm on the 12th floor, and you can still open the window. So when all the shooting started at 2 in the morning, I opened the window, wrapped my blanket, and took my camera, and I just sat there and filmed everything and bitched and moaned about it, and caught them take down the missile right over the hotel, and that was interesting because there was a whole lot of drones that night, but there was 3 missiles. One of them was intercepted, missile to missile over the hotel. The second one hit the Parliament building, and didn't explode. And the third one was, and we're talking about a missile, 600 mile per hour, uh, real missile, low flying. And you all remember Andre? His unit, one of his dudes, shot the damn thing down with a 125-year-old water-cooled machine gun, the Maxim gun. They shot down a missile with a Maxim gun, and I bought him lunch the next day, which is practically impossible. It's practically impossible. They knew it was coming. It was a forewarning. They knew the general direction it was coming in from, so he just swung the damn thing skywards and hit the plunger, and it ran into the bullet stream. And there's a little interview with him they did after I left that's online, which is like, how the hell did you do that? $1 million missile is shot down. They spended 460 some bullets, I think it was. Hey, Sandra Bernard, which was it was just really cool. But that one was headed towards a residential area and it was full of cluster munitions. So, sorry, my enthusiasm for the Russian way of war is waning a little bit when it keeps you up at night. And don't tell the girl from the rental car company. Driving in Ukraine is awesome. It's it's an interesting experience because everybody drives insanely fast, but really well. Typical Eastern Europe, but Ukrainians drive a little faster than everybody else, but they drive really well, so it's okay. And the lady from you had to cross the border outside Plemish. You cross the border, and then I got picked up a driver, took me to Lviv, and then I rented a car there. And of course, first question, like, where are you going with this car? I said, well, don't worry, I'm not going any further than here and here. I was like, all right, but she said, when I'm in Kiev, hey, William, she said, when I'm in Kiev, please find a hotel with underground parking because of all the drone attacks. I'm like, oh, there's a speed limit, all right. I don't know what it is, but there's one. I said, so okay, my hotel doesn't have underground parking. It's too bad. So, and she's like, well, and I'm sitting here thinking, the $600 deductible would totally be worth having a piece of a drone shrapnel embedded in my windshield. It would totally be worth his story to come back home and go, well, this thing I found on the hood of my car. They probably wouldn't agree. There's help for the people who lose their houses, but the cars that get lost to the Russian attacks, they're just right. There's no help, no insurance for that. And believe it or not, the cars in Ukraine are just as damn expensive as they are in Europe or even America. The cars are insanely expensive there. No, Don, there is a speed limit in Ukraine. There's also speed cameras. I got, of course, caught on one of them. And that's probably the most efficient bit of bureaucracy I've ever encountered because I got done by a speed camera the day I handed the car back, and they already got the ticket, so I could pay my $15 or something for it. Usually the speed tickets I get from Germany takes them several months. And hello in Lapland. And but the funny thing is there's speed cameras everywhere. I see those. But the thing is, when you get into the country, there's absolutely no signs anywhere telling you how fast you can go. So I have no idea how fast. I was just figuring, oh, the hell with it. I'll just drive like everybody else, which I then did. And well, so far I only got one speeding ticket. They haven't called, which is sort of probably a little bit above. And yeah, I saw them coming through the oil tunnels, the water tunnels. I saw them doing that. And the last one, they probably should have caught that. But there's a lot of World War I going on in Ukraine as well. It is a little bit like World War I with drones, but it's still interesting. And of course, you get into some of the roads are better than some of the roads in LA, which doesn't really say much. I know, but lots of livestock wandering around on the roads. dogs, cats, horses, goats, sheep, pigs. See all sorts of things wandering around the countryside in Ukraine. Um, it's just it was awesome. I really try very much to not adopt some of the cute dogs. I went to Himmler's bunker and to Venezia, the Hitler's headquarters, a little further, hour's drive from there. And the first thing I saw at Himmler's bunker was a dog that was sitting outside, came to say hi to me. So I actually don't know if Himmler he had any. I don't know if he was a dog person. But anyway, that was what that was. So I got to see Himmler's bunker and inside, and there's a story about something being underneath it. There's suggestions. The old guy who owns the property where Himmler's bunker is swears up and down on a stack of Bibles, and I tend to believe him, that there's an access under Himmler's bunker down with a rung ladder, and there is a hole there, but it's been covered up. It's full of dirt. He said there is an access all the way down to a room below because he saw that when he was a kid. So, what gas did Richter use as his plasma? Didn't Joseph mention that somewhere? Oh wait, does somebody actually give me breakfast here? What am I? William, thank you. I paid the damn ticket. They wouldn't let me leave with my deposit without it. Thank you, William. I can't smiley face you because I'm on a different platform, but I will when I get to YouTube. Somebody smiley face William. I know Joseph talked about it in some chat that he did. I just cannot for the life of me remember what it was. He said he was using different types. However, I'm sure if I'm get to Argentina, which I plan on, I will get to see the reactor there, and I will give it a shot. Operation Polar. I heard about the book. It's one I think it is. I'm shocked I only got one speeding ticket because there's times where it got really annoying. But it's interesting, whenever there's an air raid, which is all the time, the GPS stops working. And then, you're driving around, and believe me, Kiev is just as congested as LA in rush hour, which is driving me nuts. And then you're sitting there, and all of a sudden, your GPS stops working. You're like, where the hell am I going now? It just stops. And you sit there and take 10 wrong turns before you come back on again. You're like, oh, I am now like half an hour outside of where I was supposed to be. But it was funny because the first hotel I ever visited in Ukraine 20 plus years ago, I went back there because I figured I have to stay there again. It was such an old communist hotel from the Cold War. And it was really nice. They renovated every other floor. And it was nice. It was a little bit like coming back to a dysfunctional family without a decent restaurant. Hey, Kek. Egyptian god of fun is here. I hope they will. I was actually thinking about going out and this winter around Christmas and visiting some of the places, not just in Ukraine but also in Poland, where the mosquitoes are this big. In 1941, when the German army made it through, I wish I wasn't two computers. I can show you some maps. So you will get to it when we get to it. Up to that swampy area north of Kiev. They actually wrote back to Berlin at one point saying, you got to send us something for the mosquitoes because our soldiers are getting bitten so bad they can't fight. And there was one of the Stalin bunkers. We got out of the car because there used to be a German cemetery in front of this bunker that they fought for with hundreds of Germans. And we got out of the car, we went to the bunker. By the time we got to the bunker, it was maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes. We were outside the car 4 minutes. I got bitten 28 times. They were insane. It was insane. Never seen mosquitoes like this before. And I'm like, I'm not going here in the damn summer again. Oh, Kammler. Oh, jeez. Well, I am still trying to get a hold of or get a meeting with Congresswoman Anna Luna, who is in charge of the committee for declassifying classified information, or Comer, who is well, he's in charge, but she's running it. He appointed her in charge, and oddly enough, yes, yes, William, um, it's up by Korosten, which is an hour's drive from the Belarus border at this point. But um, I'm trying. Every week I call Jarlin. Thank you. Jeez. Um, yeah, yes. Oh. I think, and I'm pretty sure some of our Finnish friends are here in the chat right now. I will absolutely be going to Finland, and that was another thing I was thinking about doing for winter, because I know how anything marshy does with mosquitoes, and it's really not fun. But it was brutal. I've never seen mosquitoes like that up there. I never got savaged that bad. It was really, really bad. Um, so I figure, okay, this is something you do in the autumn or the spring. And they said it themselves. You can't really export it in the summer. It's just too brutal. Um, I don't know. Maybe Agent Orange could come back. I am still every week I call the Senate committee for the declassification of classified information. I am trying. I'm not going to let them off the hook. I'm trying to get a meeting, fly out to Washington, and explain to them why these documents are important. Um, at least they have a committee to declassify things. Initially, they were working on the Kennedy and Martin Luther King. And then there's some talk about 9/11 all of a sudden crept into that conversation. So they're looking at the bigger things, which I would think, well, fine, then give me the small things. Oh, speaking of, since you asked, the Air Force sent me back a response to my FOIA, another FOIA request from them, that in the U.S. intelligence archives, there's no information or reference to Hunt Kammler. We all know that's BS. Or well, maybe they couldn't find it, or maybe it has been removed. But you know that you damn well know the U.S. Air Force had an extreme interest in Kamla. It was in charge of the all the jet aircraft on the other side and the rocket program. Speaking of which, I did went to visit another place that Kamla he was in Poland, where the V3 gun was tested on 3 separate ramps, and one of the ones from there went to France, to Lampadon, where we were, but Bunker's launch bunker in Poland is still there, and there's a little museum with a very enthusiastic guy who's taking care of it. So, and the ramps are still there to some degree. What I did not know about that particular place is under that launch facility is a huge underground tunnel system that, of course, the Russians blew up when they got there. Well, they blew up the entrance. And of course, you can imagine, as it always is, the whole area is now nature, Naturschutzgebiet, a natural area. So you can't dig, you can't look. It's brilliant. Everywhere there were special weapons, special projects, or tunnels, or something questionable from the Second World War has turned into a protected nature area. All of them. That way, you can't look, you're not allowed. End of story. Brilliant. These people drive me nuts. Yeah. So we're back to hoping for some records. I would see that's an interesting question. I would not be surprised if they gave him a code name, but of course I can't find out what the code name is until I figure out what it is, until I get some documents. Um, again, different agencies must have had information on Kamla because of the wide range of what his research and product and projects. The Air Force definitely, and I have pictures of Air Force and Army units from some of these special locations, both in Berchtesgaden and in what's it called, the ME-262 production bunker in Remag, and they even show their unit. So they were there. So both the Army and the Air Force and intelligence, and probably I would be surprised if OSS did not also have something to do with this, including Dulles. So where they all went, that's the question. Where the hell did all the documents go? And why did they go? That's why I want to go to each individual, like the Air Force intelligence, Army intelligence, and ask them, and they all come back with nothing. So, oh, try the National Archive. The National Archive doesn't have anything. So where did it go? It must be the CIA came back and said, well, we have something, but we're not saying we have something. So maybe we don't have anything, but we're not saying yes or no because we're not going to tell you anything. It means the CIA, they do have something and they're not telling. They basically, if I wanted to know more, I should just sue them. So that again is the next step. And I had a couple of people interested in representing that because now we have to go to an intelligence court, which, gee whiz, I've never done before. So I'm not telling you how that works, but we're going to give it a shot. But it's amazing how everything can deliberately just disappear. Okay, the dissection of the Ukraine-Russian war is going to be, it has to be easier because everything has been filmed, everything is on camera, even if down to the individual hits. So much of it has been documented in so many ways that I think it's going to be hard to kind of cover anything up, although everybody's like doing their best. William, yeah, but you didn't tell me what your uncle said or send me any of the pictures that he took illicitly. Did he leave any information behind? Or I take it he's no longer alive. I take it. So the question is, did he make any reports and who did he make them to? I figure if he had told you anything you wanted to tell me, you would have told me. Centralized control, well, let me get back to the question. I'm trying to keep up here with my lack of coffee. I'm thinking the CIA was sitting on all, just like they were sitting on Himmler's secretary for her entire life. Why? I don't think he was in Czechia. I heard that story too, and I know the people that started with it, and there are people in Czechia who keeps telling, well, I know where the grave is. I know where Kammler's buried. I'm like, okay, take me there. No, can't because I was threatened 20 years ago and it's dangerous. I'm like, fine, just tell me where it is. I'll take the damn chances with a shovel. Oh, no, no, no. And I'm like, don't tell me you know where he's buried, but you don't want to tell me. I'm sick and tired of those stories and the gossip. And you want to try to look cool and you want to make a name for yourself, then fine. Then give me some evidence. Don't tell me, well, I know, but it's too dangerous for me to say. It's sick and tired of this gossip BS. Oh yeah, it's all public knowledge. You can see how they send it out. No, I think Kammler went to America. I think everything points to him coming over here and staying here, which also means like if he went here, why? There's no reason for him to go to Czechia, especially not during the Cold War. Would have been dangerous and stupid. So that's why I have a problem with, unless it's true and he never left there and he died there and he's buried there, in which case he would also not be there in 68. Jimmy Hoffa, isn't he buried under, damn, what's that stadium they built? Some things we'll just never know. I just don't understand why it has to be a secret. And I understand why the CIA keeps secrets, because that's kind of what you do. But this is bordering on the ridiculous. There's nothing, considering the outcry that everything causes constantly at this day and age. One would think an outcry for something they did after the Second World War would almost be a welcome distraction to all the crap they're doing today. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I'm not gonna stop asking. I've talked to pretty much every one of the interns, I'm sure. They've all got my emails. I got all of theirs. I emailed all of them. No one responds, even to their private emails. And when you want to talk to a senator or congresswoman, the first question is, "Oh, do you live in the district?" No, I don't. Well, then you can't just. You need to talk to your congresswoman when they're on a national committee. You should be allowed to talk to them. However, um, tell you what, if that's how they want to portray it, I honestly don't remember what's. We can figure that out right now. Anna Paulina Luna, she is Air Force veteran. Yada yada yada. She's also very cute. Yada yada yada. She is sitting. Well, she's in Washington. Yes, I know she's in Washington. Don't care. Don't care who her spouse is. Will know what state she represents. There's a reason I'm looking. You'll all. She seems cool. From some of the things she's said and done, she's also very busy right now. I get that. For the love of God, what state is she from? She cannot be this hard. Florida, Florida, Florida. Huh. Okay, so she's from Florida. I have friends in Florida. That actually solves my problem. I was going to put it out to you. I thought she was in one of those other one of the states. I didn't know anybody, but then I will officially move in with one of my friends in Florida and say yes, I am living in her state. Um, uh, not one with apparently a fly. Um, if they only will talk to people from their own state, I guess I'll pretend to move to that state so I can have the damn meeting. They're not making it easy. I don't care what party it is. None of them are making it easy. But if these guys want to talk, they want to talk. But James Comer, I think he's Illinois. Don't remember. Would be my other choice since he's higher up. He's a senator. Um, Otherwise, we're just going to have to do everybody email and hard mail these people to talk to me and have a meeting. You all gonna have to email them or mail them, and we're gonna have to put some sort of pressure on them. I know a lot of the rioters out there, they're getting hired by a company, hire a crowd or whatever they're called. Guess maybe we can hire them to protest. Uh, but put them to some good use, all these misguided youth, shall we call them. Um, Damn, what a world we live in. So uh, I have a plan. It's not a good plan. I've also been reaching out to Elon Musk and um, other notable radio TV people about doing an interview where we can actually talk about it, because just raise some attention on this. Um, well, I mean, Kamala was in charge of Rentamol. Yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, every protest you see, none of it's real. It's all paid for one way or another. But anyway, you got an Alpine shot mug? First start soon. Oh, just go. Oh, yeah, it starts having about half an hour. Um, I'll shut up then because I'll be out of my voice. And I mean, remember all the projects that Kamala was working on. He also had people that worked for him, and a lot of them, the lower orders, they went to the Russians for the most part, and the higher ups they went to the Americans, and some decided to try to stay in Germany and hope for the best. A few ended up working for the French, and some of them, like Wolf Engel, went to work in the Middle East and things like that. So what he was working on could be replicated by others, but it would be way easier just to have him sit down and say, "Well, this is what we have." And again, I will hold on to him having contacted or we in contact with Alan Dulles, which would be the perfect POC in Zurich for him to surrender with everything he surrendered with. The only thing that's sticking in the ointment of that explanation is how suddenly he disappeared. There was no last goodbyes to the family, no last letters. I'll see you soon, I hope. There's no message. He just disappeared. Which, on one hand, had he made plans, seems a little dramatic. On the other hand, you don't want to give anything away about what you're actually doing when you're doing something that at the time will still be considered treason. So, um, so yeah, it might not have it might whatever. I'm sure he got a code name, a call sign, or whatever for whoever was working with him, and he probably got. I'm leaning towards an entirely new identity. The story about him being brought over here, and they tortured him, and he killed himself in '47. It doesn't make sense because he was sitting on an extreme amount of information. He was a smart man. He would have hidden it away. He saved all the rocket scientists from Peenemünde, blew everything up so the Russians got nothing, handed over to von Mittelbauer, handed over Bergkristall. He had most certainly earned something from doing that, and he probably wouldn't have done that unless a deal would have been in place. Um, and it's not like the CIA didn't hire Klaus Barbie, who one could certainly say was worse, although not higher up. So yes, I'm sure he got a new name and identity. There's also a couple of people who claim that they know where he's buried here, and one person actually did give me the name and the coordinate. What in the hell? The name and the coordinate for the grave. Don't know what that was. Strange places. And yeah, I mean, would he need plastic surgery? Most people didn't know what he looked like. Probably would. I mean, his nose was a little predominant. And again, if he disappeared, he never spoke with his family again, or at least that's what they tell me, and I do tend to believe them. Hey, Dave. But we can only. I'm going to keep trying, and we'll see what happens. But certainly, this had nothing to do with paperclip. This was completely separate, just like people like Barbie was. Aussie, don't we have another? We have another Aussie here, eh? We had the spider talk just a minute ago. But yeah, well, actually, Finland would be interesting. I figure it'd be interesting to see a place of the winter war during the winter. Honestly, I'd rather be cold than eaten by mosquitoes. I would imagine my equipment will still work, um, even if it's cold. I am assuming as much. Didn't kill any drones this time, but one has experienced a significant electronic failure. And it's probably have nothing to do with anybody tampering with it in order to try to unlock it. That would just be wrong. So, still, now that it's interesting, there was a interview with Mueller published over, I think, 2 or 3 books with a guy who said he spent time with him, he met with him, and he interviewed him extensively, and he published those books. I am 900% sure that's all a fraud. So yes, I'm going to go with nobody knows. The indication was he went to the Russians, which is also a little bit strange because he wasn't seemed to be particularly fond of communists. But when your ass is on the line, I guess you can change your preferences. Um, yeah, I didn't really want pizza after all. But yeah, there's enough people that have disappeared that it's maybe AI will start going through some of all the released information and come up with something. Um, I'm going to experiment with having AI look through some of the more extensive statements and books that have been done and see if anything will come out of it. Um, really? That, so did you ever find out what your granddad really did? Um, nah, I'll say now the truth is coming out. Let's hope. Um, and William, I am assuming that your uncle never told you anything specific. No stone with an X on it. Darcy, what do you mean? Good morning. Yeah, well, morning coming up. So, and I'm guessing you would all like another Last Nazi special. We'll see some, but next week, I hope I should be able to get it done in time for next week. I really hope you will embrace the city of Premish and all the many fortresses and bunkers because it's just such an amazing place. It really is, and the Alps are really an interesting place too. Um, I found out that all my weird injuries are still fine compared to the heart attack I'm going to have next time I climb a bloody mountain. Oh God, these things are high up. um, Wait, would be better to see in the really spring? Can we find it a couple of weeks in the spring before the mosquitoes wake up? Maybe. Just saying. Hey, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I have driven through and I have no conscious memories of it. I hope you do good out there. Sorry, that was the other radio. I am inundated with noise here. Um, but yeah, a winter trip would be a thing, and tours are still on the books. I would actually, ideally, I would like to live in Poland 6 months out of the year if I can figure out a way to afford that because there's so much more I could accomplish from Europe than here. But we'll see how the next election goes. Um, oh, Burma was a mess. All respect to your granddad. All respect for anybody who fought out in the Pacific. Oh, speaking of the Pacific, I will be going to the Philippines. And I don't know. I see for some strange reason on this glorious channel of mine here, there is an enormous amount of Filipinos that are watching. I don't know if anybody's watching from the Philippines at this very minute, or that you guys only watch the movies. Um, but I think half of all the views we get are from the Philippines for some strange reason. Anyway, I'm going to the Philippines. There's some of the forts out there, and my cavalry unit, as you know, if you have heard me ramble about it, was the last U.S. Army cavalry unit that did a horse charge against anything, a horse charge permanently. Here this time in 1942 against Japanese tanks, and that was in outside Manila. And I want to go. I have to go to that place and see where it was and go through that action there and do a little document for the unit for the 40th Military History Museum about that. So I will be going to the Philippines at some point in time, and there's a bunch of forts out there, of course, I want to see. And my buddy Conan lives out there, and I hear things about the food in the Philippines. I can't figure out if good things or bad things, but I hear things. Korean tunnels on the Philippine visit. I would love to. I also spoke with one of you guys about some of the tunnels in Okinawa, which would be very interesting. I would very much like to. I don't think people get kidnapped in the Philippines, do they? It's not as bad as other places. Um, that would be an interesting GoFundMe. um, okay, yes, like I have no reference to Filipino food except it involves rice. exclamation mark, and which is fine with me. I do try to eat healthy, and that's another interesting thing. Every time I'm in Europe for extended period, I lose weight, and I do not eat anything healthy. It is whatever there's in the hotel and triple of that, whatever buffet I can find, whatever gas station hot dogs and ice cream. Lost 6 pounds. Only saw the gym a couple of times. So uh, European food is just healthier. I hope Kennedy has some luck in cleaning up the American food so we can actually have normal food here. Uh, I mean, if they need to be bribed for, I wasn't planning on doing anything. I don't think I'm going to be renting a car. I think I'm going to rent a car with a driver, and then he'll deal with it. But we shall see. It's going to take a little planning. I'm not entirely sure when this is going to happen because right now I need to save up a bit of money because I spent quite a bit this trip. Uh, and it's time to do a little bit of work and time to do a little bit of planning for the foreseeable future. Some slight thoughts about leaving California is running around in my head since there are well, fucking what? Paramedic. Never mind. Um, there's just more fun in other places, and it's probably better money. I don't buy a Jeep and give it to Conan. I saw Magda sent me an old, I think it was an Opel, where there's a lot of places. D-man, hold that thought for a second. Magda sent me a place of an old 1940s convertible Opel, like a World War II classic car that was for sale, restored, it's red, 8,000 euros. I'm like, fucking hell, I would love to have something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of places I want to go back to for various reasons. I'm never going to get tired of crawling around the forts of Przemyśl. It's just awesome. Or around Warsaw. Is awesome. There's a couple of alpine forts. One I went to that was partially flooded, so there was an underground section I couldn't get into. And there are places where I will come back, I'll see the footage, and I'm so busy filming that there are places I just miss. I can't remember which one it was. I saw it on the footage, and I saw it in the chat. Like I didn't see there was a staircase up. I'm like, what the hell was up there? Don't know what was up there. It drive me insane. I didn't see it, so I didn't go. So now I have to go back. Uh, there's Alpine Fort half flooded. I've got to go see that flooded part. I was just not dressed for it, although God knows it rained enough that I was wet enough. Got to see that. There's one of the forts in Przemyśl. There's just a section I haven't seen. I don't want to see it. There's a couple more of the border forts on the Ukrainian side. The permissions took a bit of time, took a bit of doing, and then all the locals get paranoid when some idiot Americans start stalking around in the NOCO area. So, it's it's a thing. But that was another fun story. I think we're coming up on the episode, aren't we? What time is it? 10 more minutes? Oh, bloody hell. Bad thoughts. Oklahoma cow tunnels. Have I? No, I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have. But if you have any specific suggestions, for the love of God, like a coordinate, do send me. This is much easier if I was living in Europe. I could just go there. And I know there's stuff up there that I haven't seen, and that's a good thing about all of us being on here together is this. A lot of times you find things that I haven't seen or didn't know about because honestly, I'm spending more time editing episodes than I do researching, which is becoming a little bit frustrating, I suppose. But Well, until I multiply myself, then that's kind of where we are. So I'm relying on you guys to go find new places for me to go visit. Um, Outstanding. What did I just miss about England? Except you're apparently going to hell. Mission from Philippines. I'll discuss just courteous and not helpful, smiling, wandering people. Best was rolling. And yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of Filipinos in my unit, and they're awesome. I have nothing negative about them. There's actually a Filipino girl that does a chat show or a show on YouTube where she talks about all the dating pitfalls, and, like, I wasn't planning on going to the Philippines and date, but it is hilarious. It's just so much fun to hear them talk about, the do's and don'ts. Uh, Brutally honest, which is hilarious. She's just funny. So, yeah, maybe I should do a dating show for historians. Not possible at the end. Um, the Japanese atomic program is interesting because they had one, and the scientists saved some of the papers, and brought them to America. And I know that I believe they're in a university library somewhere that I will try to find when I get to that. Again, there's a bunch of things. Let's hope North Korea collapses soon so we can go up and find out what they were actually doing during the Second World War, because the Japanese were testing things in up in what is today North Korea, and that's where they supposedly set off their nuclear bomb after the Hiroshima bomb had been dropped. Uh, Not going to North Korea with a camera anytime soon. But if they would do us all the courtesy of stop being a communist dictatorship and give up and toss in the towel, and then it will be an interesting place to visit. Probably. Not sure that's going to happen in my lifetime, but we shall see. Um, yes, Brett, you won a T-shirt. You and another gentleman, you won a T-shirt for the muffler, which is actually a muffler to a Puch moped. But you two guys, you posted practically on the same time. I want to split hairs, so send me an email with your address and your size. And well, the Allies declared war on them for one, so that was sort of a reason. Um, we are almost on the new episode, so I'm going to have to cut it short here in a second, and we'll do it again. There's a lot more information that is coming out. Fortunately, I met some great new historians in Ukraine who had been to the Russian archives, gotten information from there, which sheds more light on the fact that Stalin was about to attack Hitler. Why and how the Allies and Hitler got into a fight is another interesting story. But yeah, things are not as black and white as they seem. And the same thing goes back to World War One and why that started, because that was not exactly just because Archduke Ferdinand and Miss Hotchek was killed, because no one really lamented that at the time. No one really. The German Kaiser was probably the one who was the saddest to see him go, but they were not particularly popular where they were, which is also sad because he's the one that wanted to give the Serbians more control, and he did not want a world war. So of course they shoot him, of all places, like with the Tsar before the last Tsar. He was also killed because while he was sitting trying to enact the end uh, of shall we say slavery in Russia. And that's not what the term I'm looking for, but I can't remember the term I'm looking for because I'm tired and sick and jet lagged. So, with that thought, I will now leave you to the next over an hour crawling up to one of the most amazing alpine forts that it really was something. Uh, it was also a hell of a walk up, especially because somebody, can't say who, decided to not go the right way, but go the wrong way and hack our way through brush and dirt uphill because I was sure that house that was the right way to go past was not the right way because nobody had ever mentioned that to go and buy that house. So probably wasted an extra half an hour hacking our way through uh, through that. Had we not done that, I would say it was not as bad as a walk as a lot of people who make videos from there where they spend the entire video lamenting about how nightmarish the walk is. Was. You got to be in shape to do alpine things, and that's another thing. If we're going to start doing tours, we're going to have to find out who wants to come on a couple of weeks tour. I always told Roger's coming. Roger's having surgery on Tuesday, so let's see what he may need from us. There may be I think he'll be okay, but there may be a GoFundMe if he's not, and he'll need anything. But that's a different story. Um, Hopefully, it shouldn't be a big deal with the surgery, but he has a thing on his kidney, and we kind of all hoping that it's just going to be a benign thing that can be removed and he'll be fine. I'll get back to you on that. Anyway, Roger is still coming on the tour, but we have to start tailoring these. We have to talk about who's coming and what shape we're all in, because a lot of this is not exactly just park two and walk in. That's something we have to talk about. But we'll get back to that when I actually find out how much such a tour will cost and roughly where we'll go. I figure week east, week west. Although I'll just take a straight west because it'll be more fun and cheaper. East, east, east. Anyway, enjoy the episode, and I will see if we can't have a little bit more live chats and go over stuff, bits and pieces, because it's a little easier just to sit here and chat and answer questions than it is to apparently respond to emails. Sorry, really, seriously, sorry. Q&A after? Possible. I think I should be okay after doing that. All right. I will leave you to the episode. Uh, maybe, I'll pop up and do a quick live after. We shall see if the building here is burnt down or we're under imminent threat. I'm just kidding. All right, you guys. I'll see you soon. Well, you'll see more of me in about a minute from now. Toodles.